What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to go over the trades that we took today inside the Discord, as well as the game plan going into tomorrow. So today, another really good day. This is probably one of the best weeks that we've had in a very long time. Every single day, I think this week we have caught something really good. And yeah, I'm going to show you guys what we did. So again, going into every single day, this 30-minute chart here tells me the trend in the market. So these are the 675 calls for Friday. And pretty much if one of them is crossed, whether that's the calls or the puts, that means we're trending in. If you look here on the call side, 10's below the 50, so there's no trend on the call side. And then on the put side, same thing, 10 SMA, which is the green, is below the 50 SMA. We're not crossed. So going into today, we're neutral market. I told you guys in yesterday's video that all we're going to look for is a cross on either the puts or the calls. Today, we ended up catching a nice 0DT cross. So it's very simple, man. All we're doing is playing a cross of the 10 and the 50 SMA on a 0DT chart. So those 30-minute charts I just showed you kind of gives me the bigger picture of what's going on, and those charts tell me how to trade the 0DT charts. So, you know, given the market's neutral, I know all I'm looking for on the 0DT chart to give me an entry is a cross. You know, if we're trending on the bull side, okay, I'm looking to take a trade on the long side on the 0DTs, and I'm not interested in taking a put cross if it did come across. So that's kind of how we use those Friday contracts to give us the entry, not the entries, but give us the bias or bigger picture of what's going on. And then we use the 0DT chart here to take an entry. So very simple. What do you see here? We got this cross of the 10, the 50 right here. I was in this at I'm pretty sure I got in at like 10:15 during that candle. Yeah, so 10:17 I was short, and I forget what the chart looked like. Maybe I sent a screenshot of what it looked like, but I'm gonna try to find it. But you know, we got a really good cross on this trade here, and yeah, this is what it looked like. So let me drag this over really quickly, but this is what it looked like. Again, 10 to 50 are tight, 10's up, 50's already turning up. You know, this is a little bit of an early entry just because, you know, we're not super far from the 10, the 50 with where price is. So, you know, to be safe, you could have waited one more candle. And if I think I have the screenshot of the next candle open. Yeah, so this is what it looked like on the next candle open. This is a really good, I mean, right here, this is where you 100% would be in the trade. I mean, with how close the 10 the 50 are and prices all the way up here, this is going to cross in the next 4 minutes. It's very, very unlikely that it's going to come back down. So you get your entry there. We're already in that, like I said. And then it got a little bit of a pullback right here. And you can see this is where the cross happened. And, you know, on the 1025 candle, the SMAs actually crossed. So, you know, I was already in this stuff from that 10-15 candle, but again, you know, it gave a really good entry if you waited for those SMAs to cross. But you know, I didn't want to miss the move, and this is, you know, good enough for me to take my entry on, and I really liked it. So you know, we took the entry. I told Discord I was in SPY puts, 0DTs, and then I was also in NQ shorts on futures. So you know, we got a very nice move out of it and caught 50 points on NQ, caught 70 points on the 0DTs for SPY, and that's all I took for the day. You know, that's all you need. We're in neutral market. You know, I'm not really trying to take a million trades, but there was another opportunity to take short. So you know, it looks like, oh, you know, just buy these dips at the 50 SMA. We bounce off of it many times, but no. You know, if you guys got to know the rules of the system, and since we're in a neutral market, meaning the 30-minute charts on the Friday contracts are not crossed on either side, we do not buy the 50 SMA dip down here. So these dips to the 50 are not buyable because we are neutral. What you want to wait for is a bounce off the 50 and then reclaim the 10 SMA, which is this green line here. And I told the Discord this before this ended up reclaiming, or when it did reclaim, that I didn't like this 10 SMA reclaim up in here just because of the 10 SMA was sloped down a bit. So you know, I'd want to see that be more flat and curling up, at least flat to take the entry point. And you know, what do you know, this reclaim over here ended up doing that. So you know, we came back down again. You know, this isn't an entry I was going to take. You know, we got back above the 10 here again. The 50 is still down, but once it, you know, curls up, you could get that entry point on this 1230, 1235 candle, and look what happens. I mean, we held the 10 the entire way, and these contracts went 214 all the way up to 376 if you ended up playing the reclaim. It's a valid trade to take. We're in a neutral market. You could take this, and you know, you would have been paid. I personally didn't take it because we already caught a really good trade. I caught futures and I caught SPY puts, so you know, really good day already for me. I'm just gonna pack it up since it's neutral. Not that I'm really, wanting to stick around for. Even though there was another trade that came about, it really doesn't matter to me. I got my really good trade for the day, and I'm packing it up at that. So that's what we did for SPY. And it's as simple as that, man. I say this every video, but we're just playing a cross of the 10 and the 50, and then, waiting for candle closures above the 10, or, for us to hit the 50 to take an entry if it's in a trending market. It's very simple. This is the most simplest way, in my opinion, to day trade. It's very effective, very simple to understand. We're just playing crosses. You just have to know, how to read the Friday contracts. If you can't just trade the 0DT contracts because you don't know what the bigger picture is like. That's why we have the Friday contracts. Once you know how to read those, and then you use those contracts to kind of give you a sense of where you want to be taking your trades, whether it's to the upside or downside. And like I said today, we're neutral. We're looking for that 0DT cross on either side. It really doesn't matter because there's no trend in the market. So, whatever side crosses, that's the side we're going to take. And we got the put cross today, and we got paid off of it. If the calls ended up crossing, we would have taken that too. So, it's a good thing that we always have a trade for either side of the market. If the market really wants to rip, there's going to be a trade opportunity. If the market really wants to dump, there's going to be a trade opportunity. So that's what we did today when it came to SPY. Going into tomorrow, what do we look like? So 30-minute charts, again, tells me the trend. It's the, same thing. I mean, 10 SMA is below 50 here. We're actually going to get new contracts for the, what is it? Is it the 17th? Yeah, so for the 17th, I'm just going to change this to the 17th just to get a sense of what we look like. So 675 calls. We're going to get different strike. We'll have to see. But I'm just going to go out to 675 calls for now because tomorrow we pick new Friday contracts because the current ones we are watching are going to be 0DTs. So on Fridays, we repick the contracts and use the following week's Friday, so the 17th expiration for the Friday contracts. Yeah, so on the higher time frames, what do we look like? So these are actually the monthly contracts currently, but yeah, I mean, we are sitting at a pretty big spot here. I'm not going to lie. This daily 50 SMA is a strong area of support. And, for me, I personally favor the upside just based on this chart. There's nothing else telling me that, we're going to dump, but, things could change. For now, I favor the upside because the daily chart here is cross on the 675 calls for next week. And then if we go to the put side for the 17th, there's probably, I'm not sure what these are going to look like, but it's probably not going to be anything crazy. 30-minute here, yeah. So, we ended up pumping up into this 50 SMA today. Again, these weren't the contracts that we were watching today because it's still Thursday. We pick new ones tomorrow, but, we ended up rejecting that resistance here on the put side. So, I'd have to favor the upside with how we look on the daily chart for the next week's contracts, and then the put side here rejecting the 30-minute 50. So, if bears want to slam this lower, they're going to have to cross this here on the 30-minute. And, if that does happen, I will happily be looking for shorts. But until that happens, I do favor the upside. And, if we don't cross, then tomorrow most likely we're going to see a call cross happening to take a long entry. So, like I said earlier, we got to trade for both directions, whether that's to the upside or downside tomorrow. And I'm just going to wait for one to happen. And, whatever side gets the cross, I'm going to take it. And we're going to see what happens from that cross. So, that's pretty much what we did today when it came to SPY. Ended up closing out the rest of my SMCI. So with the market dropping today, obviously SMCI ended up coming down with it. So ended up stopping, I think, like 10% in profit on the remainder of the position. I ended up trimming pretty much like 80-90% of what I had yesterday here on this move higher. I told you guys I trimmed at 70%, and then I trimmed half of what I had left at 100. And then yeah, we ramped a little bit higher into the close, and I was up 110% at the close. And yeah, it might seem stupid that I held this right back to pretty much break even, but that's how you're able to get large gainers, is by having runners. So again, I had my majority position off, so I just had a small position remaining, and I closed that for 10% in profit. So that's what we did today when it came to individual stocks. And then also, actually, I forgot about one. This is a individual play, so it was on ABAT, I believe. So I have calls on this one. I just really like the daily chart. It's pretty much a break above this little base we had going. So this is what I saw. It was pretty much just this downtrend right here breaking. It's very easy to see these three highs right here stacked up. We kept rejecting this area. So once we got above that, broke out, and I've been sitting in this for a couple days now, so I think 2 days maybe, and we're up. I think these were up around how much? I think like 80-90% right off open today. Took some trims and just riding the rest at break even. So yeah, we're gonna see how that does over the next day or two. And yeah, I mean, that was a really good trade take, and yeah, just a little individual stock play. I've been watching the regular charts. It's just very easy to see these little bases that form after a stock makes a move up, and then once it decides to break out. I mean, I just feel like it's very easy to spot. You see a stock move up, kind of consolidate, either pull back a little bit, move sideways, form a range, and then it breaks out and makes its next leg. So yeah, this is something, like I said, I've been doing recently. If you're in the Discord, you guys know I've been posting about it. If you're kind of only watching YouTube videos, then you probably haven't really seen this from me before. But it's just an easy way, in my opinion, to take some swing trades and just see other opportunities out there when it comes to swing trading. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all I got. If you guys enjoyed, drop a sub. If you guys want to learn, join the Discord down below. That's where I'm at all day, every day. If you got questions, make sure to pop in there and ask it, because I'll be sure to answer it. So yeah, that's all I got. I'm out. Peace.